Okay, so this video is about the second part of a standing start, which is the drive forward and the reset. And I'm going to do this in a trainer because of this first part that I think is a good tip. And one of the things is and my last standing start video was 5 months ago, and it was about when to stand, either on 2 or 1, or even if you're in pro mode on 0. But after you mastered that and got your foot position sorted, in this case I'm using non-dominant leading. Why I like doing indoor starts now on a trainer that's weighted down is it allows you to move around on the bike while feeling planted and feeling secure. And one great tip that was given to me, can't remember if it was Pete Mitchell or Eamon Byrne, was using a gate, or in this case, a trainer. And before you take off, way before you take off at the 20-second mark, or even 35-second mark, is utilizing the gate or the trainer to get an idea of what this range of motion is possible for you after you launch. And even for me, with a strong upper body and a strong core, it feels, you get an idea of like how much muscle this takes, or how much strength and support this takes. When you're doing it in a held start, you don't have that confidence because, frankly, someone that's holding you is not probably super experienced at it, and they're shaking, you're shaking. It's a mess. It's a recipe for disaster. And most people don't have an opportunity to use a gate, so the next best thing is using a trainer. And it's just getting an idea of like the stretch, and it feels kind of cool actually. And you can exaggerate things and feel secure. So, up on 2 or up on 1, back, forward. And what you want to do is, when that happens, it's 5. The countdown timer cadence is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then go. 1, then go. Knowing that range that you have and feeling comfortable with it gives you an idea of what it feels like to drive forward. And what I've seen through observation and watching videos of amateurs performing a standing start is that there seems to be a virtual wall that runs somewhere just forward of their stem steer and behind their front axle. And it's a point where most people can't get their chest past it. For me, this feels really forward because it's like, this is barely even forward. But for most people, if you watch them, they'll go, and they just can't seem to get forward. Probably because they don't feel comfortable doing that. And the reason why you want to be able to move forward is to take advantage of this stored energy from moving backward. Ideally, you have stored energy. It's an isometric contraction at this point. And then you spring forward. And that springing forward, that weight shift, is what allows you to drive your leading foot down. And then watching people in person and in videos, what I see is it's kind of like this hesitation, and they are going through the motions of the start almost in a mechanical fashion, but they're not taking advantage of what they need to be doing is utilizing that drive forward to move themselves forward. They're mechanically in their mind up, back, forward, but everything is just a few milliseconds off as far as timing, and they move forward, but they forget to drive their foot forward, or they don't synchronize that moving forward and that drive forward. And as I'm making this motion of this twisting, it reminds me, I filmed myself from behind with a drone following me, and because I was curious to see what I look like from the back. I can see myself with a forward-facing or a forward 360 camera pointing backwards. I can see what I'm doing from the front, but I was just kind of curious to see what it looks like from the back. And it's this synchronization of just flicking your weight forward and driving that pedal down. And it's almost like you're casting a reel from one side to the other. And what I did notice is with high torque, massive gear starts, I do twist because it's this driving of the hip over that pedal to get it down as opposed to moving forward, if that makes sense. And this is what I see in these videos. And it's just honestly just occurred to me to describe it to you right now. Where I definitely noticed it in the videos of me being chased by a drone, and it was reinforced because it reminded me every single time. It's like, yeah, when I start a massive gear, which requires a tremendous amount of torque, I lean almost exaggerated with the shoulder going almost diagonally that way. And you can see it in the video from the back where I kind of twist inward, and it's to get that weight over that hip and drive that down, as opposed to this. Let me try to show it. I don't know if this is going to work, but moving forward and then driving. And a keen eye will be able to see that delay of the weight shifting forward, but the bike doesn't move. What you want to be able to see is an instantaneous, as soon as that weight comes forward, then the bike moves, because you're capitalizing on the stored energy from the back position, lurching it forward, as opposed to, like I described, this mechanical start. You're going through the motions, you're going up, you're going back, you're leaning forward, but then you're driving. As opposed to up, back, and whoa, whoa. And of course, the bike isn't anchored. I'm telling you to anchor because I took the weights off. Whoa, whoa. Put weights on your trainer. That's why the Le Mans is great, is because it has the arm sticking out and you can lay the plates on it. But that was a great example of like how much energy you can throw in, and that was a light throw. And when I'm doing it for real outside with the 147-inch gear, there's a lot of torque driven through this hip to get that down. So I'm kind of glad that happened, because it shows you like what's going on. And that's the idea of proprioception, of knowing where you are in space and what's happening. Really tough, really tough to correct and improve upon. But if you take a moment, and not take a moment, take a lot of moments, practice this and understand and try to move away from this mechanical method of starting, of just going through the motions, as opposed to making it this fluid exercise of up, back, tension, release that kinetic energy, and drive yourself forward. So you do that. Let's hopefully I don't flip again. You drive forward, and it's this part where your weight is still forward, because you're just like pushing down on the leading leg, and then that sets up this dominant leg to drive. And so what's happening is when I go down, I go like this, and then I'm gonna come back just a little. And here's the point that I noticed in watching countless videos of me starting, and other people, of from the side, is on your saddle, you wanna envision, if you were to watch yourself, envision a wall. Speaking of which, a wall here that you don't want, but there's a wall that drives here. I would say, let's say center line of your seat post, a perpendicular line from the center line of where your seat post meets your saddle. So right about here, where this is called the reset. You've driven forward, and then you come back, and there's going to be this virtual wall where you want to come back, but you don't want to come back too far, because there's just simply no time. And if I can illustrate this, I've already driven down this foot. Now I'm driving this one back, driving this one forward, non-dominant. And the reset is when you come back, and there should be like a wall. Whoops. Maybe I'll have to edit that out. A wall, virtual wall coming back where you shift your weight back, but it's not like this again when you start. So the reset is how far you come back, but you don't want to have it exaggerated. What I notice watching other people who aren't that comfortable and experienced with the start is their reset is almost non-existent. They hardly come back at all. And it becomes this oscillation, this tiny oscillation right about here from the midpoint of your top tube to this invisible wall here. So your range of taking advantage of this momentum, this weight shift of just driving, isn't very much. And like I said, you don't have a lot of time to go back, and that's the limiter. That's what is actually keeping you from moving back. It's not necessarily your weight shift, it's just there's not a lot of time. It's once your foot gets driven down, it's just this movement. I'm moving, but the bike's going that way, and you're just shifting your weight forward and back between here and this invisible point at the midpoint of your saddle, of being able to drive each leg forward. And eventually you'll get up to speed, and then there'll be a little bit of rocking because you're just trying to get on top of it. By this point, on a 250 track, you're definitely coming out of T2 and going into the straight. But it's this reset of going forward and back, but not so far like what you did when you started. It's feeling comfortable of just being able to get drive, reset, drive, reset, drive, reset, drive, as opposed to drive, reset, drive, reset, drive, reset. To me, that's super exaggerated, but from what I see, a lot of people, they're not doing it. They can't get forward enough, but then they only operate in this small, narrow bandwidth, as opposed to four. And as you're getting up to speed, then you're rocking a little bit and then settling in. Once you get up to top speed, or when you feel like, I can't pedal any faster, it's probably a good time to sit down. Those are the finer points of moving forward and the reset. It's practice, practice, practice. It's really, in my opinion, it's about proprioception. It's about being able to know where your range limits of where you can go on the bike and feel comfortable. But most importantly, this is the toughest part to teach, is being able to use this momentum of your body shifting and taking advantage and capitalizing on that weight shift to be able to drive it, turn it into forward momentum, and that's to drive the pedal down. Speaking of that, there is no pulling up in that phase. If anything, it is a drive. you're already down. So this next leg is already set up. It's up and over the 12 o'clock point. There's not a pulling up on this foot, as opposed, it's more of a stability. You're not pulling up on this. You're continually driving on this leg. All the weight, all the power should be going into the leg that's forward facing, forward leaning. Any tension that's on this leg, the rearward foot leg, is to stabilize. It's this hip that's engaged, just to kind of stabilize it, pulling it over, but not up and over this last part from, however you look at it, from 1 to 12, and then getting it to set up to drive down. Drive, stable, push up and over. I hope that helps. It's really hard. Honestly, that's the toughest part of the start. It's that coordination, it's that proprioception, it's getting that, capitalizing on that momentum of your weight shift and you making it into forward momentum, driving these legs down. I hope that helps. Any questions, definitely leave it in the comments. I hope this helps.